Ronda Rousey is one of the greatest women's fighters of all time. She could be considered a pioneer in women's fighting. She is a major reason for the women's divisions even being in existence in the UFC, as Dana White had initially said he would never have women's divisions in the UFC until Ronda Rousey showed up. And when Ronda Rousey got into the MMA scene, she was fighting a lot of women that were smaller than her, weaker than her, probably should have been fighting in divisions lighter than her. And or maybe Ronda Rousey could have been fighting at 145, except for the fact that the divisions didn't largely exist. But Ronda Rousey, en route to going 12-0 to start off her MMA career, well, the reality was is that she was piecing up a bunch of fighters that weren't as big as her, weren't as good as her, and weren't as physical and strong as she was. And the second she walked into someone of similar physical stature and skill, and someone that could shrug off the judo toss, well, that pretty much ended Ronda Rousey's career, and she walked away from the sport. But she was recently on a podcast with comedian Bert Schreiner or Schneider, the guy that takes his shirt off in comedy shows. And or is it Bert Kreider, whatever the hell his name. Let me correct, Bert Kreischer. That's his name specifically. But she was on a podcast with him, and I'm not gonna play the podcast, but I'm gonna bring up a couple of clips where Ronda Rousey basically insulted Khabib Nurmagomedov. She insulted MMA fans. She insulted MMA media, and all she did was bitch and moan about the things that didn't go her way. And we're going to talk about it right here. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Combat Corner, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate y'all continued support of the channels. You can check us out here at Come On Now, the podcast. And then we also have our Combat Corner Fight Network channel. So please be sure to subscribe to that channel as well. Appreciate y'all jumping on board. If you haven't seen it yet, let me post it up for you at Combat Corner Fight Network. Please be sure to go over there and subscribe to the channel, as we drop a lot of combat content over there. But I'm putting this one on our main channel because I need this to be seen by a lot more people, as you know, the Combat Corner Fight Network channel is still growing. But this is some dog shit, bro. Like seriously, seriously, seriously. This is some straight up dog shit what she had to say. And I understand her feelings and her thoughts, but let's play it. Let's play for you what she had to say and listen to this. What I would call, what I would really call a bitch fest. Like this is nothing but a bitch fest. Cry baby, crying about nonsense, and that's the way I see it. She's crying about nonsense because that's something that Ronda Rousey does. I mean, she cries, she bitches, she moans. It's always bad. You know what I mean? So let's take a look right here. It was this video right.
MMA fan.
So sits here and talks, and this is my comment right here. I posted this long ass comment because I have personally never been a fan of Ronda Rousey. I'll keep it completely transparent with y'all. I've never been a fan of hers, but I have respected her ability, and I've respected her game, and I respected what she brought to the sport. But I've never been a fan because she always came off like a fucking bitch to everybody, whether it was in the Ultimate Fighter. I mean, she just treated people like shit. And that's largely what has been said about her by many, is that she just treats people like shit, like that persona that she has in that she had in the WWE, where she was first a face, but then she was getting booed because the reality was she's a heel type of person, just in her personality, and being a heel fits her because she was really a heel in MMA. She was a heel in MMA because she was a nasty person. And there's all kinds of reports of her just being a nasty person. Listen to what she had to say.
Fans and media are the most "what have you done for us lately" crowd of any sport. Like you look at WWE and they have such a reverence for their legends. And at MMA, it's like the second that you're not on top, you're not shit and you never were shit. Chuck Liddell, when he's on top, oh my God, he's the best, he's the best. The second that he loses, oh, Chuck Liddell ain't shit, he never was shit. Rampage Jackson, oh my God, he's the next Mike Tyson. He's so great. Second he loses, oh, Rampage ain't shit. He never was shit.
Yeah.
GSP, oh, he loses. He's not shit. He never was shit. And I think the only reason that why MMA fans have their lips so firmly planted at the base of Khabib's cock is because he retired before he reached his limit. And if he kept fighting until he reached his limit, everybody would be like, oh, Khabib ain't shit. He never was shit. And they're like that with everybody. Like name one person.
I mean,
Brock ain't shit. He never was shit. Name one past champion that has that the kind of respect that the current champions do. It's really sad because I think it encourages people to try and get out while they're peaking and taking all of that equity with them instead of passing it on to whoever's next to take up the mantle. I wanted to retire undefeated because I was so afraid of like, oh, everything that I accomplish is going to be nothing if I ever lose. So I have to retire undefeated. MMA fan.
Are you laughing like I am? That's the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard. So let's explore this. So when did you ever hear any MMA fan say Chuck Liddell wasn't shit? Did you ever hear anyone say Chuck Liddell wasn't shit after Rampage knocked him out and took the belt? No one ever said that. Nobody ever said that Chuck Liddell wasn't shit. No one ever said that Rampage wasn't shit when he lost. No one ever said that. GSP? Who the hell said that GSP wasn't shit? Whoever said GSP wasn't shit? And you're sitting here asking Bert Kreischer, a fucking comedian, when is the last one you've ever heard? Like, what are you talking about? No one said Daniel Cormier wasn't shit when he got knocked out by Stipe in their second fight. No one said he wasn't shit. Whoever said that? Nobody. Nobody ever said these things. Like she's literally making shit up. And it's kind of pathetic because it goes to her character and it goes to who she is and how she treats people and what she says. It's all bullcrap. She's a fucking victim. She plays the role of a victim. George St. Pierre lost his last fight in April of 2007 to Matt Serra in that knockout against Matt Serra. He won every fight thereafter to finish his career at 26-2, spanning a decade. Beats Michael Bisping and retires champion. No one ever said George St. Pierre wasn't shit. Even when most people thought he lost to Johnny Hendricks, nobody ever said that he wasn't shit. That's ridiculous. Brock Lesnar, no one ever said he wasn't shit. Did they say maybe he lacks actual skills? Yeah, because he was a behemoth of a heavyweight and largely just ran dudes over because he was so much bigger than everybody else. And people didn't know how to handle it until Cain Velasquez did the job. And then it got exposed to the way you could handle Brock Lesnar. And the fact was that he really couldn't take a punch. But no one said he wasn't shit. The man gets all the credit in the world for bringing so many eyes to MMA. And in fact, no one's ever said Ronda Rousey ain't shit as a fighter. Everybody loses in MMA at some point. Outside of John Jones, whose only loss was via disqualification, even though many people thought he lost multiple fights to Dominic Reyes, Alexander Gustafsson, and Thiago Santos. But no one's ever even implied that John Jones ain't shit. No one said this about any of these great champions. But she's going to get up here on a podcast, talk to a comedian, and ask this guy, when did you last hear it? And then on top of that says, the reason I wanted to retire undefeated was because I didn't want to be spoken of that way. No, it's because your ego is so fucking fragile. She has the most fragile ego. She's had such a fragile ego for such a long time. For such a long time. Her ego, it's pathetic. She can't take it. Like the greatest, one of the greatest stories in MMA history, certainly in the UFC. So I'm going to say MMA, I'm meaning really the UFC, because the UFC is the leader in the sport. And the reality is, and I'll ask you to correct me if you think someone differently, but one of the greatest stories, if not the greatest story in UFC history, was Robbie Lawler winning the belt. Robbie Lawler, whose career had gone off of a cliff, who was really becoming just one of those guys that, could knock you out, but could get knocked out, who had cardio issues, conditioning issues. He getting a amazing fights, but he's not a guy that could ever put it together, right? So then, he comes back and he comes to the UFC back from Strike Force, and he knocks out Josh Koscheck, Bobby Volker, and then has that war with Rory McDonald and wins via split decision. Then he loses to Johnny Hendricks, right, for the vacant belt. And he fights Jake Ellenberger, wins via TKO. Matt Brown, Johnny Hendricks then wins the belt from Johnny Hendricks and then beats Rory McDonald via knockout, TKO, and then beats Carlos Condit before losing the belt to Tyron Woodley. And from that point on, then his career faded as he was older and father time had caught up to him at that point. For the most part, he was in his mid-30s. He wasn't the same guy anymore. But no one ever said Robbie Lawler wasn't shit. But people love the Robbie Lawler story because this is a guy who was, 19-9-1. Had lost 3 of his last 4 fights in Strikeforce because he was fighting at middleweight instead of welterweight. In fact, if you look at him from when he was 16-4, beating Scott Smith, he lost to Jake Shields, beat Melvin Manhoff. I was at that Melvin Manhoff fight, who was kicking the crap out of his leg, and then out of nowhere, he knocks Manhoff out. That fight was in Fort Lauderdale. Then loses to Renato Sobral, beats Matt Lindland, loses to Jacare Souza, loses to Tim Kennedy, beats Aiden Amagov, loses to Lorenz Larkin, and then he's in the UFC. And from 2013, February of 2013 until January of 2016, Robbie Lawler won 8 out of 9 fights in the UFC and became the welterweight champion of the world. It was one of the greatest redemption stories that MMA has ever seen. The UFC certainly has ever seen. You've never seen another guy like this. You've never seen another guy who's got 9 losses. I can't think of any. If you can remember any, let me know. Who has 9 losses and is at that point in 2013? He's how old? He's 29. Actually, no, shit. He's 13, 19. He's 32, about 32 years old, 31, 32 years old. He was born in 82, so that would be 18, 13, 31 years. He's 31 years old. Like from the time at 31 years of age, he had this career resurgence. And this woman here, when she finally got challenged, she quit. That's the reality. And that's why people have a negative thought about her, is because she wasn't the type that would want to come back and battle back and overcome adversity. She was a quitter. She's a quitter. Yeah, I said it. She's a quitter. She got her head knocked off by Holly Holm. The second she couldn't get a damn judo toss on somebody, she got her head knocked off. And then she ran away. Disappeared. Rather than taking a rematch with Holly Holm, she runs away. She can't fight right now. Whatever the reasons that she had 1,000 reasons. I don't remember them. I don't care about them. But we know she ran away. And then what happens is Holly Holm fights Miesha Tate, who Ronda Rousey had dominated twice because she was bigger and stronger. But Holly Holm got sloppy and lost that fight in round 5. Got choked out in round 5. I believe it was round 5. Got choked out in that fight, and that was pretty much the end of Holly Holm in terms of being a true contender, and basically is looked at as a one hitter quitter, lucky knockout, whatever people want to say. They can say what they want, but she finished Ronda Rousey via head kick and punches in November of 2015. And a few months later, Holly Holm gets finished by Miesha Tate, suffers her first loss in March of 2016, and then loses again to Valentina Shevchenko in July of 2016, and loses again to Jermaine Durant. She ended up losing a whole bunch of times, as we all know. And then Miesha Tate fights Amanda Nunes. She fights Amanda Nunes, and Amanda Nunes is surging up the charts in July of 2016, and Amanda Nunes finishes her off really fast, right? And now here comes Ronda Rousey returns, and everyone has to worship Ronda Rousey. And that was in what year? That was in December of 2016. And now Ronda's been out for upwards of a year because she ran away and quit. She took her ball and went home. And here she comes back to fight Amanda Nunes. And anyone with sense knew that Amanda Nunes was going to piece her ass up. But except the UFC had to promote Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey was the A side of that fight card, the way that fight was promoted. She got paid probably 5 times what Amanda Nunes more than likely got paid. Maybe more than that. Probably more than that. She got paid hand over fist to come back and fight for the belt. And Ronda Rousey's skills on her feet looked like trash. And everyone knew her boxing was mediocre at best. It was sloppy the way she would throw punches. She's fighting these women that are smaller than her, should be fighting at a weight class lower than her, but she's bigger than everybody. And look, it works out. It works out for some people. Fact of the matter is, when that all happens, she fights Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes is a big ass girl. She's 5'9". She's big. She's a badass. We all know this. Amanda Nunes is not a small chick. She's 5'8", 5'9", and she has long reach, and she throws bombs, and she pieced the shit out of Ronda Rousey. Absolutely mauled her ass. And Ronda Rousey forever disappears. Ronda Rousey runs away. She takes her ball and she goes home. Rather than trying to be a fighter, rather than being a warrior, someone who's going to fight back in the whole nine, nah, she runs the fuck away. So people have referred to Ronda Rousey, though, as someone who might not be shit because of how she took her ball and ran home. That's why. And she wants to make it seem like people just said this about her when she lost. Nobody said this about her when she lost. You're going to lose likely in MMA. It's going to happen. Instead of coming back and trying to fight back and get better at your craft and learn to really box, nah. She quits. She runs to the WWE. She gets all kinds of paid. She hated being looked at as a heel. She hated it. You could see it. She hated the thought of being a heel. She was like, she was being booed. People remember she got booed in the WWE. She got treated like a heel. And it's really, really frustrating when you hear someone who's somehow misremembering reality and has created this warped reality so where she's dogging people out and dogging out the media. The media and the fans of the UFC made Ronda Rousey a multimillionaire. The UFC, Dana White and the Machine made her a multimillionaire. They made her important because realistically, skill for skill, as a skilled fighter, she was great at judo and she sucked at everything else. She had the submissions because her mama used to throw her in the arm bars. Outside of that, what could she do? What could she do? She couldn't throw hands with anybody. She didn't throw kicks. She did one thing. Judo, I'm bigger than you, grab you, toss you, submit you. And it's a skill. But at a certain point, the sport evolves and people get better and people get hip to the game of what you do. And more fighters come in who might be just as big as you. Exactly what the situation was with Holly Holm, who had great hands as a boxer and was able to avoid being judo tossed. And then Amanda Nunes, similar situation. Great hands, powerful, strong, just as big, if not bigger. Could beat your ass at 45 as well. Like, you have a different situation here. Remember, Ronda Rousey was this big ass bully who talked so much shit about Chris Cyborg, even calling her a man, knowing that Chris Cyborg would have knocked her freaking head off. Knowing it. She knew it. She knew that Chris Cyborg would knock her head off. And what does she do? She talks shit about her. She calls her a man. She says she's like, she's a dude. Like, what do you talk? Always accusing her of things, but calling her a man. Like, it was despicable behavior. But then you find out that people in the UFC community don't like her because she was always an obnoxious bitch to them. I've heard this a million times on different platforms that she's not a nice person. She was never a nice person. She treated people like shit. And now she calls out Khabib Nurmagomedov, who ends his career 29-0. Do I necessarily disagree with her about him never losing? Yes, I think Khabib would have lost at some point. At some point, Khabib was going to lose. Like every fighter outside of John Jones, you're going to lose. And in a division like the 55 division, and even at some point, maybe Khabib would have moved up to 70 because cutting to 55 might have become a little bit too difficult. But yeah, Khabib was also 29-0. He wasn't 12-0 or 12-2. He fought the world. Do I wish he would have fought longer? Absolutely. I don't know a lot of people that think that Khabib is the greatest fighter of all time, though. Maybe there are some. But I don't know that many people think he's the greatest fighter of all time. I think most people would believe that's John Jones, who has a loss technically. But this crap where, they have their plan, I mean, look at this shit. Look at this shit. This is ridiculous. Fans have their lips firmly planted at the base of Khabib's cock because he retired before he reached his limit. Like, come on, dude. Come on, dude. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Come on, man. Like, she's such a fucking hater. She's so damn jealous of this man. It's actually kind of embarrassing. But then she made up a whole bunch of stories about people being dogged out and champions being dogged out. What are you talking about? When, again, remind me of when you last heard someone say Chuck Liddell wasn't shit after he lost to Rampage. Everyone gets old. Everyone starts losing, generally speaking. Everyone passes their prime. And yeah, John Jones probably would have suffered a real loss on paper if he had not been suspended so many times, had been pulled from fights, and potentially, in my opinion, if he had fought Daniel Cormier at heavyweight, I think Cormier would have beaten him at heavyweight when Cormier was healthy, but that fight never happened. Nonetheless, it didn't happen. It doesn't matter. He's still the greatest fighter of all time. But then she mentions the reverence for WWE and their legends. Get out of here. Do you see how some of these legends get treated by the WWE? Hulk Hogan was thrown out of that shit, Ronda, if you don't recall. I don't care what the man said, whether it was dirtbaggy or not. The man built that organization, was tossed from it, basically thrown out. You got wrestlers. These guys are all on juice to the gills on steroids, dealing with roid rage and all kinds of shit for that damn company. And that company fucks people over more than anybody. The WWE is notorious for fucking wrestlers over. Notorious for it. They have a Hall of Fame, just like there's a Hall of Fame in the UFC. I don't know. Was Ronda Rousey put in the Hall of Fame yet for the UFC yet? If she wasn't, I mean, let me see. Was she? Was she? I don't even know. Was she put in the UFC Hall of Fame yet? Yeah, she's in the Hall of Fame. They put her in the fucking Hall of Fame. She just said that they all shit on their people. She was put in the Hall of Fame 7 fucking years ago. The first female inductee, class of 2018. UFC Hall of Fame. And she's sitting here talking about how, oh my God, them fans in the media, blase, blase. Man, shut the fuck up. Shut up. It is so weak and pathetic. And oh my goodness, man, this shit is sad. And then, but that Khabib comment, look, I mean, I have him of Khabib, not really. But Khabib was 29-0, man. He wasn't 12-2. Do I wish he'd fought more? Sure. But this woman sitting here, you quit. You ran away, man. You could have come back. You could have avenged or tried to avenge losses. You could have tried to fight your way back, get better at your sport the way Robbie Lawler did, the way other fighters have done. Doesn't mean you're going to become champion again, but there are people that lose their belts and still continue to have great fighting careers. If you're mad about something, be mad at yourself for being a quitter. You're dogging out Khabib Nurmagomedov. You're dogging out the MMA media and fans who made you rich. The fans made you rich. And then she said some stuff about Joe Rogan also. Listen to this crap. This is kind of funny.
I was just talking to Joe on the walk over. How long for me to train to beat Ronda? That'll never happen.
He wouldn't know. He's not an expert. He's a fan with an audience.
It's interesting. Is that how you feel about you?
Never fought.
He fought Taekwondo, right?
Never fought. That's not fighting. It's not fighting.
Well, I'm going to exit this conversation. No,
I don't want you to get any bad DMs. We need to get out.
It was just.
Listen. She just said Taekwondo isn't fighting. From someone that does tosses. Judo is just a bunch of hip tosses. And I respect judokas. It's a hip toss game. Judo toss, flip them over. Woohoo! Her striking sucks. I promise you, if she fought Joe Rogan in his 50s would whoop her ass. This woman lives in delusion. Look at these comments. Ronda Rousey takes a shot at Joe Rogan, label him a fan with an audience. I'll tell you what, I hope to have Joe Rogan's body when I am his age. And I'm 47. I think he's not that much older than me, but I would love to have the physical ability that guy has to do what he does. Like, that dude's in tremendous shape. Taekwondo isn't fighting from a person with a base of judo and some of the worst striking ever is hilarious. GSP has literally said Joe Rogan has the best technique for a spinning back that he's ever seen. He is absolutely an expert. They literally hired him because of his background in martial arts to be on the UFC, to be UFC broadcaster. He actually does have knowledge. She's literally so intolerable. This is why every fan base hates her. Bitter for life, lesson for all. What a totally unnecessary thing to say about someone who has done nothing but defend your legacy. Bro, this is why she's hated. It's her own doing. A man that hyped her up her whole career. Joe may have never fought in traditional MMA, but he's a world-class Taekwondo fighter, competitor, and a legit black belt in BJJ. Between his experience rolling and sparring in BJJ to get his black belt, which takes thousands and thousands of rounds, and his Taekwondo resume, he absolutely has the credentials to critique fighting, give advice, and be an expert. Some people say she's right. This is why everyone hates you, Ronda. This is why everyone dislikes her. And there she goes, knocking one of her biggest supporters of her legacy. We tried to like you, girl, but you make it so hard. This is so awesome that Bert Kreischer laughed directly in her face. Cementing wise, she better not ever attend an event or they will boo her out of the building. Like, this is Ronda Rousey's a piece of shit. Bluntly, she's a piece of shit. But I guess she wants some attention right now, so she feels the need to dog people out. She feels the need to dog people out. It's embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing. She has dogged and demeaned everybody in this damn sport. She's lied, made up stories to justify why she feels how she feels. Delusional. Delusional, people. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. What do you think of Ronda Rousey? What do you think of what she's had to say about Chuck Liddell, the Rampage, the GSP, the lies that she said? Because did you ever hear anyone say those guys weren't shit? No, you never have. I've been watching MMA for my entire life since 1993. Like, I watched it back in the 90s when it first started, and I absolutely watched it very, very closely from 2000 on. You know, you never heard that type of thing. You never heard that shit. She's just making stuff up. She's bitter as hell, and she's sad. She's sad and pathetic. There's a reason the WWE doesn't want her sorry ass either. They don't want her, otherwise she'd be there. Brock Lesnar, no one's ever called Brock Lesnar trash. No one. She just made this crap up, man. And of course, she does it on a comedian's podcast, Bert Kreischer, who I enjoy. I think he's funny I think he's funny a little bit. But this is a joke, bro. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. This is Combat Corner, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Come on now.
Up and down through the blood and the sweat. Guarantee you can know I'm a threat. Up and down through the blood and the sweat. And I ain't close to being done yet, I'm going all in. Yeah, I'm going all in. And I ain't close to being done yet, I'm going all in. Yeah. They know I'm going all in. Through the blood and the sweat, y'all know we ain't close to being done yet, I'm going all in. I've been down from the jump. Ain't no love lost, we just really doing us. Go and take your seat, looking silly getting up. Y'all know what it is, let me tell them what it was. It was 24/7 on